Have you ever felt like something inside you is screaming at you to stop, to change, to quit running in circles? It's not madness. It's not a whim. It's your soul claiming what belongs to it. Carl Jung, one of the brightest minds in psychology, discovered that there's a hidden power in each of us, a secret that can completely transform your life. It's not in money, not in social media, nor in the approval of others. It's in prioritizing yourself, in listening to that inner voice the world has taught you to ignore. Today, we're diving into Jung's ideas so you can understand how to find the inner peace that not only saves you but changes everything around you, your relationships, your dreams, your way of existing. If you stick around until the end, I promise you'll not only get inspired, but also take away practical tools to take that step you've been putting off for too long. Are you ready? Let's get straight to it. Jung said the human soul is like a deep ocean, full of currents we don't see, but that constantly move us. In that ocean lives what he called the unconscious, a part of you that holds your fears, your truest desires, and the answers you seek when everything feels like chaos. It's not something mystical or far away. It's real, it's yours, and it's working all the time, even if you don't notice it. Has it ever happened to you that you make a decision that seems right, but something inside feels off? Maybe you took a job you didn't want, stayed in a draining relationship, or said yes when you wanted to scream no. That's not a coincidence. It's your unconscious sending you signals, speaking in a language that doesn't use words but sensations, intuitions, even weird dreams you don't understand when you wake up. Think about it for a second. How many times have you ignored that gut feeling, that hunch telling you, this isn't for me? Jung would say that every time you do, you disconnect from your essence, and that disconnection has a price. You lose peace, you lose energy, you lose clarity. The modern world pushes us to rush, to compare ourselves, to fill silence with noise. But Jung invites us to stop and listen, because in that dialogue between your conscious mind, what you actively think, and your unconscious, what you feel without explaining it, lies the power to prioritize yourself. And prioritizing yourself isn't selfishness, it's survival. It's the first step to truly living. Now imagine this. You're walking through life and come to a fork in the road. One path is full of lights, clear signs, people telling you, this way is fine. It's the safe path everyone chooses. The other is dark, full of shadows. No one seems to want to go there. What do? Most take the lit path, the one that promises comfort. But Jung would say real change, real peace, lies in the dark path. Why? Because that path leads you to face what he called the shadow. And here's an important pause, a moment to breathe and think with me. The shadow, in simple words, is everything you hide from yourself. It's the parts of your personality you don't like, that you reject or don't even know are there. It could be that insecurity you cover with a smile, that anger you hold back because it's not okay to show, or that dream you gave up because someone said you weren't enough. Jung said the shadow isn't your enemy. It's a part of you begging to be seen. But here's the problem. The more you ignore it, the more power it has over you. It sneaks into your decisions, how you treat others, even why you feel trapped when everything seems fine. Let me give you a clear example. Imagine you have a friend who always criticizes you, who seems to drain your energy every time you talk. You wake up ready to take on the world, but after 5 minutes with them, you feel empty, exhausted. Sound familiar? Jung would say it's not just their fault. It's your shadow at work, reflecting in that relationship. Maybe that constant criticism bothers you so much because deep down, you judge yourself the same way. Or maybe you keep letting that person stay close because your shadow tells you you don't deserve better. See how it works? It's not magic, it's pure psychology. So what do you do with this? Jung doesn't ask you to become a monk or analyze every thought like a mad scientist. His proposal is practical. Start by recognizing your shadow. Pause right now, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what part of me am I avoiding looking at? What emotion, what fear, what desire have I been pushing down because I don't want to face it? You don't need to answer out loud, but be honest with yourself. This is the first act of prioritizing yourself. giving yourself the time and space to truly see yourself. And here's an early call to action for you reading this. If anything I'm saying resonates, leave a comment below with one word: shadow. Just that. It's a way to commit to yourself to say, I'm going to start looking at what I've been ignoring. Because when you begin to integrate your shadow, something incredible happens. You stop fighting yourself, and that inner peace starts to grow. But wait, it's not all so dark. The unconscious doesn't just show you shadows, it also guides you toward the light. Jung talked about something called individuation, a term that sounds complicated but is simple at its core. Individuation is the process of becoming who you really are, uniting all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the weird, into an authentic whole. It's not about being perfect, it's about being you. And that process starts when you prioritize your inner voice over the world's noise. Before we move on, let me tell you my book is now available. It's full of tips and techniques to help you overcome emotional blocks and love yourself more. Find the link in the description and pinned comment. Let's keep going. Think about those times you felt a pull towards something inexplicable. Maybe a wild idea like switching careers, moving somewhere new, or starting a project no one gets. Or maybe a person you met by chance who, without knowing why, made you feel more alive. That's not random. It's your unconscious pointing you to a path. Jung would say those intuitions are like inner compasses, guiding you to your purpose. But to follow them, you have to let go of what weighs you down. And here's another moment of reflection. Imagine your life is like a backpack. Inside are things that give you strength, your passions, your values, the people who lift you up. But there are also heavy stones, toxic relationships, old fears, beliefs someone else put there. What would happen if you dropped those stones? I'm not saying it's easy, but Jung teaches us that letting go isn't giving up. It's freeing yourself. When you release what doesn't belong to you, you make space for what does. And that empty space isn't an abyss. It's a blank canvas to paint the life you want. I'll give you a concrete case, something you might have experienced. Say you're in a relationship, friendship, romance, or even work, where you feel like you give everything and get crumbs in return. Every conversation is a struggle. Every interaction leaves you doubting yourself. You tell yourself, if I try harder, this will work. But deep down, you know it doesn't. Jung would say that constant struggle is a signal from your unconscious. It's not bad luck. It's a clear message. This isn't aligned with who you are. So what do? The answer isn't to fight harder, but to ask yourself, what would happen if I let it go? What would I gain if I prioritize my peace over this battle? Here's a practical tool you can use today. Grab a notebook, a piece of paper, whatever, and write down 3 things draining you. They could be people, habits, thoughts. Don't judge what you write, just let it out. Then next to each, write a concrete action. I'll talk to this person and set a boundary. I'll stop checking my phone every 5 minutes. I'll stop telling myself I'm not enough. This isn't a game, it's a commitment to yourself. Jung believed acting from your truth is like sending a signal to the universe. I'm ready for something better. And the universe listens. Before we move to the next part, let's take a short pause. Breathe deeply again. Feel how you are right now. What's this stirring up in you? If you've got an idea of what to let go or prioritize, share it in the comments. It doesn't need to be long, just write what you feel. And if this is helping you, like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet. This isn't just a message. It's a community of people like you who want to live from their truth. We're in this together. So far, we've talked about the shadow and how prioritizing yourself starts by listening to your unconscious. But this is just the beginning. Jung has so much more to teach us about transforming our relationships and purpose when we dare to truly see ourselves. In the next part, we'll explore how the people we choose to keep close shape our lives and why letting go is sometimes the most powerful act you can do for yourself. So stick with me. This gets even deeper. We've been exploring how prioritizing yourself begins by listening to your unconscious. That deep ocean Jung said we all carry inside. We talked about the shadow, that part of you hide but that still influences everything you do. But it doesn't end there. Now that you've started looking within, it's time to see how what's outside, the people you choose to keep close, can mirror your inner world. Jung had a powerful idea about this. Our relationships aren't accidents. They're reflections of what's happening in our psyche. And if you want inner peace, if you want to transform your life, you need to understand how the connections you hold on to lift you up or pull you down. So take a deep breath, because we're diving into something that might change how you see others, and above all, how you see yourself. Jung believed everything we experience in the outer world has roots in the inner world. He called this projection. In simple terms, projection is when you see something in others that's really inside you. Ever had someone drive you crazy and you don't know why? Maybe a coworker who's always competing with you, or a friend who won't stop criticizing. You get mad, frustrated, and think, why are they like this? But Jung would say, hold on, this isn't just about them, it's about you. That anger, that discomfort, is your shadow peeking out, showing you something you haven't accepted about yourself. If someone's arrogance bothers you, ask yourself, is there a part of me that also wants to stand out but I don't let it? If another person's negativity wears you out, are you holding back your own sadness? I'll give you a case you might recognize. Imagine a relationship, romantic, friendship, or family, where everything feels like a fight. You talk, and they don't get you. You try to connect, and you end up further apart. You push to make it work, but every step is like walking against the wind. It's easy to blame them. They don't listen, they don't value me. But Jung invites us to turn the mirror. What's this relationship showing you about yourself? Maybe you're projecting a need for approval you don't give yourself. Or maybe you're clinging to someone because your unconscious believes you're nothing without them. This isn't to make you feel bad, it's to free you. Because when you understand your projections, you can decide which relationships deserve your energy and which don't. Here's a pause moment. Breathe again, close your eyes for a second if you can, and think of someone who sparks conflict in you. Don't judge, just picture them in your mind. Now ask yourself, what do I feel when I'm near them? What part of me gets triggered? You don't need to solve it now, but jotting this down later could be a first step to seeing it clearly. Jung said our relationships are like classrooms. They teach us who we are if we're willing to learn. And this brings us to something crucial. Not every relationship is meant to stay in your life. Jung didn't say it in those exact words, but his idea of individuation, that process of becoming your authentic self, means letting go of what doesn't resonate with you. Prioritizing yourself isn't just saying no to small things. It's having the courage to say enough to connections that pull you away from your essence. Ever felt smaller, less sure of yourself after being with someone? That's not a fluke. Jung would say that person is touching a wound in your unconscious. And if you keep letting it happen, you're choosing chaos over peace. Let me tell you a quick story, something you might have lived. A few years ago, I met someone who seemed to have it all: charisma, success, a perfect life. But every time I was around them, I felt a knot in my chest. At first, I thought it was envy, that I wanted to be like them. But over time, I realized something. It wasn't envy, it was exhaustion. That relationship drained me because I was projecting my own insecurity, my need to prove myself. And that person, without knowing it, fed that inner struggle. When I decided to step away, it wasn't easy. But once I let go, something shifted. My energy came back. My mind cleared. Jung would say that was my unconscious thanking me for prioritizing myself. So how do you know when to let go? Jung doesn't give you a rule book, but he leaves clues. If a relationship makes you feel like you have to change who you are, hide parts of yourself to fit in, that's a red flag. If you feel empty instead of full after being with someone, that's another sign. It's not about blaming anyone. It's about recognizing some connections don't align with your path. Letting go isn't giving up. It's an act of self-love. It's telling your unconscious, my peace matters more than this fight. Here's another practical tool. Grab that notebook from before, or a new one if you prefer, and write the names of 3 people in your life. Next to each, note how you feel after being with them. Energized or drained? Inspired or dimmed? Be honest. No one's reading this but you. Then underline the person who gives you the least. You don't have to cut them out today, but ask yourself, what would happen if I reduce the time I give them? This is prioritizing yourself in action. Jung believed our relationships shape our psyche, so choose carefully who gets access to your energy. And speaking of energy, here's another key concept from Jung: synchronicity. This is when the universe seems to line up magically, like things fall into place without explanation. Ever made a tough choice, like leaving a job or ending a relationship, and suddenly met someone amazing or stumbled into an opportunity you didn't expect? That's synchronicity. Jung said it's not chance, it's a response from your unconscious in the outer world to your courage. When you prioritize your truth, the universe conspires in your favor. Pause again. Think of a time in your life when you felt this, a change that scared you, but then brought something good. Maybe it was leaving a city, a habit, a person. What happened next? If you want, share it in the comments. I'd love to know how synchronicity has shown up for you. And if this is hitting home, like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet. This is more than a message. It's a movement to live from our authenticity. Now let's talk about self-love, because Jung didn't call it that, but all his work points to it. Prioritizing yourself isn't just letting go of what weighs you down, it's building relationships that lift you up. Imagine a relationship, any kind, where you don't have to pretend, where you can be you without fear. Those connections exist, but they only come when you give yourself permission to be authentic. Jung would say that when you integrate your shadow and listen to your unconscious, you start attracting people who vibe with your true essence. You don't have to chase them, they show up. But this takes something from you: courage. Letting go can hurt. Releasing someone who's been part of your life, even if they harm you, can feel like losing a piece of yourself. Jung knew this, which is why he spoke of individuation as a journey, not a finish line. Every time you let go, you're pruning your life like a garden, cutting the dry parts so the green can grow stronger. And that empty space isn't a punishment, it's a promise of something better. Here's another example. Think of someone with a big dream, writing a book, traveling the world, starting something new. But they were surrounded by people saying, "That's impossible. Be realistic." Over time, that dream faded. Has that happened to you? Maybe not a book, but a personal goal you let slip because outside voices drowned out your own? Jung would say those people didn't just kill your dream, they disconnected you from your purpose. The good news, you can take it back. Start by asking, what do I want? Not them. Write that answer. It's yours. You don't owe it to anyone. Before we go on, another short pause. Breathe deeply again. What relationship or situation are you holding on to that's keeping you from growing? Don't answer out loud, but hold it in your mind. Because in the next part, we'll close this journey with something powerful: how prioritizing yourself not only transforms your relationships, but connects you to your deepest purpose. Jung has one last lesson for us about how chaos and peace go hand in hand. So stay with me. The best is yet to come. We've talked about how prioritizing yourself starts with listening to your unconscious and facing your shadow, and how the relationships you choose can reflect your inner world. Now we're reaching the heart of this journey, where it all ties together: chaos, peace, and your deepest purpose. Jung had a radical view of life. It's not about avoiding mess, but walking through it to find something bigger. In this final part, we'll explore how prioritizing yourself not only transforms your relationships, but lets you live from your authenticity and discover why you're here. So take a breath. This is going to be deep, practical, and, if I may, a little revolutionary. Jung said there's no awakening of consciousness without pain. Think about that for a second. Ever gone through a dark moment, a loss, a failure, a relationship that fell apart, and later realized it taught you something huge about yourself? That's not random. For Jung, chaos is like a fire. It burns what doesn't serve you and makes room for what does. Prioritizing yourself doesn't mean chasing a problem-free life. It means having the guts to face the mess and find peace within it. Because that peace doesn't come from outside. It comes from aligning with who you really are. Imagine this. You're in an emotional storm. Everything feels out of control. Maybe an unexpected fight, a fear you can't name, or that sense of being lost even when things look okay. Most people run from it, turn on the TV, scroll their phone, anything to not feel. But Jung would say, stay there. Look the chaos in the eye. Why? Because in that storm, your unconscious is shouting something big. Maybe it's telling you to quit a job you hate, speak a truth you've silenced, or chase a dream you buried. Chaos isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Pause a moment, breathe deeply, and think of the last time you felt that inner mess. What were you avoiding? What was your soul asking you to do? You don't have to tell me, but keep it in your mind. Jung believed these moments are gateways to individuation, that process of becoming your true self we've talked about. And individuation isn't a luxury, it's a need. It's what lets you live a life that not only fills you, but makes sense. Here's a concrete example, something you might have lived. Imagine you once had a passion, painting, writing, traveling, something that made you feel alive. But life happened. Responsibilities, others' opinions, fear of failure, and you let it go. Now, every time you think about it, you feel a knot, a mix of nostalgia and guilt. Jung would say that knot is your unconscious reminding you of your purpose. It's not a punishment, it's an invitation. Prioritizing yourself means hearing that call and acting, even with a tiny step. Maybe you won't drop everything to travel today, but what if you pick up a brush, write a page, look for a ticket? That's aligning with your truth. Here's a practical tool for this. Grab a paper and write one thing you used to love and let go of. Don't judge if it's realistic, just write. Then next to it, note a small step you can take this week to pick it back up. I'll buy a notebook, I'll find a tutorial, I'll plan a free day. This isn't a far-off dream, it's a commitment to yourself. Jung believed that when you follow your purpose, your psyche aligns, and that alignment brings peace. It's not magic, it's action. And speaking of purpose, here's another powerful idea from Jung. The collective unconscious. It sounds big, but it's simple. It's a shared memory we all carry, full of universal human symbols and experiences. Ever wondered why stories like a hero facing a dragon resonate across cultures? For Jung, that's from the collective unconscious, linking us to something greater than ourselves. When you prioritize your authentic path, you don't just transform yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage touches that invisible thread connecting us all. Think of it this way. Every time you choose to prioritize yourself, letting go of a relationship that dims you, chasing a dream that lights you up, you're sending a ripple into the world. It's like dropping a stone in a lake. The waves spread. I know someone who left a soul-crushing job to start something of their own. At first, everyone called them crazy, but when they succeeded, it didn't just change their life. Others around them started questioning their own paths. Jung would say that's the collective unconscious at work. Your transformation sparks something in others. Pause again. Breathe and think. What impact would you have if you live from your truth, not just on you, but on those around you? If you want, share it in the comments. I'd love to hear how you see this. And if this is stirring you, like the video and subscribe if you haven't. This is a journey together, and every interaction helps more people find this spark. Now let's talk about closing this circle. Prioritizing yourself isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. Jung said connecting with your unconscious is like building a relationship. It takes time, attention, honesty. And here's the final secret. When you do it, the outer world starts reflecting it back. That's synchronicity again. Those coincidences that aren't. I know someone who, after years of feeling stuck, let go of a draining friendship. A week later, without looking, they found a mentor who pushed them toward their dream. Jung would say, that's not luck, it's alignment. When you prioritize your peace, the universe responds. But I won't lie, this path has shadows. There'll be days you doubt when fear speaks louder than your intuition. Jung knew this, which is why he insisted individuation is a process, not a finish line. Every step counts. Every time you choose your truth over the noise, you're closer to that inner peace that changes everything. And that peace isn't passive, it's powerful. It gives you clarity to see which relationships matter, which dreams to chase, and what to release without looking back. Here's one last tool, something you can use tonight. Before bed, ask yourself 3 questions. What gave me energy today? What took it away? What can I do tomorrow to prioritize myself? Write the answers, even if they're short. This is a habit Jung would approve of, a conscious dialogue with your unconscious. Try it for a week and see what happens. You'll be amazed at what you uncover. We've reached the end, but first, a quick recap. Carl Jung taught us that prioritizing yourself is listening to your unconscious, integrating your shadow, and letting go of what doesn't align with your truth. Chaos is part of the journey, but within it lies your purpose. When you choose your inner peace, you don't just change your life, you change the world around you. This isn't an end, it's a start. The question is, what will you do with it? Final pause. Breathe deeply one more time. Imagine what your life would be like if you prioritized your authenticity every day. What would you let go? What would you embrace? This isn't theory, it's a challenge. And here's my last call to action. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone searching for their peace, their purpose. Then leave a comment below. What will you prioritize starting today? Your words don't just inspire me, they inspire everyone in this community. Subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell, because this is just the beginning of a journey together. Final pause. Breathe deeply one more time. Imagine what your life would be like if you prioritize your authenticity every day. What would you let go? What would you embrace? This isn't theory, it's a challenge. And here's my last call to action. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone searching for their peace, their purpose. Then leave a comment below. What will you prioritize starting today? Your words don't just inspire me, they inspire everyone in this community. Subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell, because this is just the beginning of a journey together. The power to prioritize yourself isn't out there, it's in you. Jung knew it, and now you do too. Life isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about breaking it to be who you really are. So do it. Dare to. Because when you live from your truth, you don't just find peace, you find life. Thanks for being here, for listening, for being part of this. See you in the next video. The change starts with you. I'll be waiting.